Entitled mother rigs a school contest, but I win, and she tries to take back the mega prize. So, some context. The community center in my community held something called a jelly bean dance every third Friday of the school year. It's for ages 6 through 12 people, so grades 1 to 6. There'd be an entry fee of $5, and then every item of food cost $1 each, which includes hot dogs, chips, pop, and chocolate. So bring $10 and you have dinner covered. With entry, you also get a raffle ticket that had a number. Every so often during the dance, the DJ would call a few numbers out, and whoever had that number got a prize of the winner's choice. Now, the prizes weren't cheap and they were pretty great. There were Barbies and Hot Wheels and Nerf guns and all that jazz. I lived in an upper middle class area, so that's why the prizes were so nice. So this is where entitled parent comes in. She ran the community center and planned the dances and the prizes. She was also the head of the parent council at my elementary school, but those are stories for a different day. But to make this long story a bit shorter, the mum would always take extra tickets and give them to her daughter, so she won a prize every single dance. I found this out years later. Now to the story. It was 2010, I was 11 in grade 6, and it was the dance before Halloween, and kids were allowed to wear costumes. I went as a dragon. There were a few different Halloween-themed prizes. I remember there was a Catwoman Barbie, a black cat Webkins, and even a pumpkin costume. But the prize everyone wanted was the mystery box. It was a big box covered in black wrapping paper, so no one knew what was inside it. No one except the entitled mother, because she was the one who bought everything. Apparently this box was worth over $150. The night was fun. Everyone danced to the music and all got a sugar rush from the candy and pop, and generally had a great time. Throughout the night, various names were called and the lucky winners got to choose their prizes. Then the final song came on. It was Fallen Leaves by Billy Talent. I always considered this my lucky song, even though the story behind the song isn't very happy, because good things just seemed to happen to me whenever I heard it. I'd find things I thought I'd lost or get a good mark on a test, generally good things. So I felt good about my chances. The song ends and the DJ announces it's time to give away the mystery box. He called the numbers out and the tickets were similar with numbers until the last 3 digits. This is where things got funny. The DJ said the third to last number and I heard a roar of "No!" Second to last number with the same dramatic "No!" And then the final "No!" I looked at my ticket to see that I had won the mystery box. I ran to the front and showed the DJ my ticket. He checks it over and it was indeed the ticket that won. Then I noticed entitled mum's kid standing beside me waving her ticket in the DJ's face and whining, "No, I have the ticket right here." He looks at it and tells her, "Sorry, but you don't. Better luck next time," and she storms off crying to the entitled mother. The DJ hands me the mystery box and tells everyone to have a good night and get home safely. The lights go on and there's a crowd of kids around me wanting to know what's inside it. I didn't want to open it up until I got home because it was a big box. I told them I'd tell them on Monday what was in it. I grabbed my coat and went outside to wait for my ride. I knew it was going to either be my mum or my stepdad, and as I wait inside the door, the entitled kid comes over to me and tries to open my box. We're both 11 and in the same class. She unfortunately was one of my many bullies. I pull the box away and tell her to leave me alone. She starts whining again. "Give me the box. I was supposed to win it. Mummy made sure of it." Me being polite, I said, "Well, maybe you'll win one next month. It's before Christmas, so it will be awesome." She whines some more about how she wants it, and then her mother walks up to me and yells, "You're not supposed to have this. My kid was supposed to win it. Now give it to her." The mother was this huge lady, tall and fat and kind of scary. I stood my ground and said, "I won it. Besides, she wins every time. It's time to let someone else win for a change. Losing is part of life." Yes, I, an 11-year-old, said that. My great-grandma would say it to me, in a nice way of course, and it was one of her many life lessons. This lady looked at me in shock and then started to grab for the box. I held on to it as best as I could, as I yelled at her to let go of it. All the while, the entitled kid was pounding on my back and trying to help her mother. Suddenly, my stepdad walks through the doors to pick me up. What the hell is going on? I say, she's trying to steal the box that I won. No, you're trying to steal it from my kid. You don't even know what's in it. I do. I don't know because it's a mystery box. I'm not supposed to know until I open it, and you bought the prize. I was looking at my stepdad. He's 6'6" and really scary looking. I was honestly scared because I thought he was going to make me give it to her. Being the child of the other man, I rarely ever get what I want. My stepdad then surprised me by grabbing the box out of the entitled mother's hands and told me to go get in the car. He then followed me out, box in hand. I do remember the entitled mother yelling back at me that she'll be talking to the principal about this, but she couldn't do crap since this was after school and not even on school property. When we got home, my dad gave me my box and I finally got to open it. And what was inside blew my mind. Inside it was the first 4 seasons of Supernatural, the first 2 volumes of Walking Dead comics, which was perfect because the first season was premiering on Halloween, the complete series of my favorite animated show, Reboot, awesome Canadian show, which I highly recommend you all check out, except the Guardian Code. That's the reboot of Reboot, and it's garbage. Harry Potter wand and glasses, a bat webkins, a pair of pumpkin socks, a crap ton of candy, and a Calgary Flames hat signed by the captain himself, Jerome Iginla. I figured that the entitled mother got her husband to sign it because he works for the Flames. Jealous, the guy got to work with Iggy. I was over the moon. I felt like this box was made for me. I mean, monster stories, reboot, and hockey? That's my life in a nutshell, even today. I shared some of the candy with my stepdad to say thank you for helping me. I'm not sure if he ate it, though. He probably gave it to one of my sisters. I was a bit shocked at some of the things in the box because they weren't 100% kid-friendly. I mean, a 6-year-old could have won that, and the Walking Dead comics are graphic as all heck. But I guess the entitled mum was so confident that her daughter would win that she didn't care. I mean, I was surprised that my mum let me read the comics at 11. I could read them as long as I didn't show my sisters or take it to school. I guess it was a big FU to the entitled kid because my mum knew what she did to me at school. But thanks to the entitled mum and kid, I became a Walking Dead and a Supernatural fan, which I still am to this day. I never went to a single jelly bean dance again. I didn't feel the need to since I'd hit the jackpot. I was also scared of the mother and her kid. And I wrote this story because I was driving to work this morning and I heard Fallen Leaves on the radio. I remembered this story, and since it's my lucky song, I'm considering going and buying a lottery ticket. I probably won't though. Anyways, thank you for reading. Have an awesome rest of your day. And remember that you are enough. Well, I think we can safely say that the entitled mother in the story was engaged in possibly the lamest sort of corruption possible. If you're going to abuse your powers, why did you settle for rigging competitions to get your kids Hot Wheels, Barbies, and comics? You could have used that flagrant disregard for your responsibilities to go into something like white-collar crime and taken millions at the taxpayer's expense. I'm just saying, go big or go home. If you're going to betray people's trust when they give you their money, you should just be all in on it. And it was very lucky that the author won the box instead of some unsuspecting 6-year-old. I mean, don't get me wrong, the 6-year-old narrator would have been as thrilled to get some gory comic books as his mother would have been appalled. But at that point, the entitled mother is literally just using the money of all the trusting parents to buy gifts specifically for her kid. And good on our narrator for standing her ground against a challenge that I'm not sure any of us could have overcome at the age of 11. Not only her bully, but also the bully's equally overbearing parent. And awesome parenting from the stepdad here. Nice moment of bonding going on there. I hope that cemented a healthy and respectful step relationship at home going forward. The author is not the jerk here. The corrupt mother is 100% the most lame and low-power jerk that we've ever seen. If you like Am I the Jerk, you're probably going to love Am I the Genius. Check it out, linked below. Also, go to amithejerk.com/submit if you would like to submit your own stories. I can only book travel in coach class? Okay. Shortly before COVID brought all manner of traveling work to a screeching halt, I was finishing up a job and getting ready to book my travel home. Normally, everyone would just fly, and in my case that meant a nice short trip of about 2 hours in the air. However, this particular location and the route back home for me had an extremely scenic train route that took about 12 hours. And as a bonus, I could get a sleeper car for a pretty cheap price, less even than the flight. I asked my boss if there was any reason I had to fly instead of taking the train, as the latter would save them money. and he said it would be fine. I didn't waste his time or mine by mentioning any of the above details. I simply booked my ticket and immediately sent in the receipt for reimbursement. Not 20 minutes later, I get an email. To paraphrase, "What the frick is this? I thought you said you were going to book travel that would save us money. What do you think you're doing booking a sleeper car? You're not one of the big shots out here. Send me a new receipt for your coach class accommodations." Okay, as you wish. Cue malicious compliance. Since this happened so quickly, I was able to cancel my $150 train ticket without issue. And since there was no way I was taking a 12-hour train ride in coach instead of a 2-hour flight, I booked my air travel like I normally would and immediately sent in the $450 receipt for my coach class flight. I get yet another email asking me what the hell I was doing. Now, I'm good at booking travel and I know how to find good prices. I knew that there wasn't a cheaper flight to be had, so I wrote back, "Sorry, this is the cheapest coach class flight I could find. If you find a better one, please let me know before the 24-hour cancellation window closes, and I'll be happy to book that instead." Clearly frustrated, they told me to stop playing games, cancel the flight, and just buy the damn train ticket. I didn't. I took the flight home and got reimbursed per company policy for my coach class flight. Am I the jerk? Fricking excellent. Yet another micromanaging bookkeeper humbled by the sheer force of reality. The part of this that blows my mind is that there's apparently a sleeper coach train ticket that costs less than an economy flight? The narrator tries to fly as infrequently as possible and lives in a country where rail travel is relatively good and affordable compared to anywhere else outside a third world country with bad airports, and he has to book a long way in advance. And the rail ticket will still almost always cost more than one of the budget airlines. So this magic country that the author lives in will be a very intriguing mystery to me forever. You're not the jerk, author. Your boss might not be either, but they certainly don't come off very well in the story, just sort of dumb. I'm quite surprised at the length you went to teach them their lesson. In this case, taking a flight that you hadn't wanted to take in the first place, just to screw your company out of more money as revenge. But then again, reinforcing the message that you know what you're doing and that you're not to be trifled with in the future can't really be a bad thing. Entitled Mother thinks that my personal swim gear belongs to her. So, for some backstory, we have a swim team at my high school that starts in mid-November. I wanted to start to get back into shape before I try out for it, so I joined a gym that had a lap pool I could use. I'm 17, so I just drive there and back myself. A few days earlier, before the encounter, I learned that a swim team for 10 to 11-year-olds started just a few minutes after I would usually stop swimming, like 5 to 10 minutes after I usually stop. So, on to the story. I just finished my workout and climbed out of the pool. As I was walking over to my bag, which had my stuff, I saw that a mum and her kid had walked into the pool area. I guessed that they were here for the swim team practice, so I just kept drying myself off normally. I'm kind of lazy, so I just put my shorts over my wet jammers to save some time. I finished getting dressed and I started to pack up my swim gear. I'd bought myself some nice swim gear like a kickboard, a pull buoy, and a pair of new goggles, with some money I earned from my job. I finished packing the stuff into my bag and started to walk out. But the mum I saw earlier came over to me. The encounter went like this. "Hey, my son forgot his swim gear for his practice today. I was wondering if he could use your gear." And yes, she was actually pretty nice about it at first, but it got worse. I said, "Sorry, I'm just about to head out and I need to take my swim gear with me. Could you just leave your gear here and come back for it tomorrow?" "No, sorry, I'm just not comfortable with that." I turn around and start to walk off when she grabs my shoulder. And this is where things went downhill. "So? My son needs that gear for his practice. Just give it to me and I'll leave it at the desk for you tomorrow." "I need to go. I'm not giving you my stuff. Maybe the coach has gear you could borrow from." I started to walk off when something I didn't expect to happen happened. This lady literally grabs my bag, which not only has my gear but my wallet and phone, and starts walking away with it. I only had it over one shoulder and wasn't really holding on to it too tight. "Hey, give me my bag back, that has my phone in it." "So? You should have let me have it, and now it's your fault you left your phone in it. My son needs this gear more than you." The lifeguard who was sitting near the pool saw what was happening and walked over. "Is there a problem here?" "Yeah, he wouldn't give me his gear, and my son needs the gear more than he does." The lifeguard looks over at me and just notices the sheer look of, Are you seeing this bullcrap on my face? Okay, I saw you take his gear away from him. Just give it back or we'll have to kick you out. How come? My son needs that gear more than he does. He wouldn't give it to me. Come on, just give me my bag back. It has my phone in it. The lifeguard makes her give me my bag back and she just walks away with the most annoyed look on her face. The only upside is that I got a 2-week free membership to the gym. The lifeguard told the story to his boss, and they wanted to make sure I still wanted to be at the gym. Good guy. More people should be like him. So that was my very first encounter with a wild, entitled mother, and my first story about them online. Well done on surviving your first harrowing encounter with that most feared and awful of creatures, dear author. It's like a Spartan teenager's first encounter with a wild animal at the beginning of the film 300. Not all of us survive the first harrowing instance, and you were lucky to come out of it unscathed. In all seriousness, what is with these people just being so darn certain that they're entitled to commit either theft or property damage with no fear of legal repercussions? None of them even seem to try to conceal what they've done when they're called out by authority figures or cops. They just seem to think it's okay that they're doing this. Like the jump from, he won't lend me his property, to, now I'm legally entitled to take all of his possessions and walk off with them, is just such a breathtaking gap in logic that I always wonder how some of them have got this far in life without being arrested. Imagine the kind of person who thinks this way. Now imagine that instead of just being a random person in the gym, you're a service person who's obligated to go further in terms of being nice to them. Screw that. I denied a cop the bathroom code at Subway. So I was working at Subway a few years ago, and a man came in with his wife and 2 children. I had all 4 sandwiches started when the man asked me for the code to the bathroom. The policy was you had to make a purchase to get the bathroom code, but by the way he was doing the potty dance, it was pretty apparent this guy needed to go. Obviously, either he or his wife will pay for the 4 sandwiches I've already started. The next day, my boss sits me down and lectures me about how the code is on the receipt for a reason. She watches the tape and sees me give the man the code and tells me, I don't care who it's for. Whether it's your friend, family, whatever, you name it, you do not give the code under any circumstances. Later on that night, I was working by myself when some guy in a trench coat and greasy long hair came in the side door and said, Hey man, someone got seriously messed up outside. A long line of customers waited for me while I subtly grabbed the bread knife, which is sharp as frick, and went around to check. It wasn't the best part of town, so you never know with people. Anyway, as Trenchcoat Man had stated, someone was seriously messed up outside. His face was all bloody and he was just a mess. I called 911 and went back to making sandwiches. Sometime later, a few cop cars and an ambulance showed up. They were doing their business outside, and then one of the officers comes in and asks for the bathroom code, I guess so he could do his business inside. Like 6 hours earlier, my boss told me not to give it away under any circumstances without a purchase. I laughed a little and told him what I tell all the other customers. I'm sorry, you have to make a purchase first. You can get a cookie, which is less than $1, and then it'll be on the receipt. He didn't realize the laugh was really at myself and how awkward of a situation he unknowingly put me in, nor did I have the chance to explain it before the laugh and the rejection of the bathroom code, which caused him to become straight up furious. He gives me 3 warnings to give him the code. Each time I tell him I'm not going to give it to him, and the customers are actually on my side telling him I'm just doing my job. After his 3rd warning, he shook his head and muttered, I can't believe you're interfering with an ongoing investigation. And he uses the walkie on his shoulder to get some information. About 5 minutes later, one of the cops handed me a phone. I answered and my manager said, Are you freaking serious? Long story short, the cop got a bathroom code and a free bag of chips. Am I the jerk? I don't know if this is jerk vigilante title or not. You are much more committed than the narrator would be to dragging his boss over the coals, and this workplace is clearly running way too smoothly if your boss has time to call you up in a formal meeting about this particular issue. Considering that most people who've worked in hospitality could count themselves lucky if more than half their colleagues weren't showing up high on green herb or constantly getting screamed at for mistakes that actually affect your workflow, it sounds like this place had things going far too well. I'm not sure that your relationship with the boss would have improved much after you pulled your little act of malicious compliance, but it's your life and your job. You want to follow your boss's ridiculous stipulations to the letter just to make them mad? Okay then, enjoy staring down an armed service member to do so. I do have to commend your customers for sticking up for you though. That's weirdly nice of them. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications. Put the playlist on in the background to finish listening to all the stories. Or if you want to check out some great music, check out easymode.com. If you like Am I the Jerk, give Am I the Genius a shot. Everything linked in the description.